All right. Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to Live Life Full. This is Michelle Harden, and I'm so glad that you're here or you're getting on. I want to give you just a moment to get on. I wanted to just share. I'm not sure if you guys heard that song by Rhonda McLemore. Go and check it out. It's on her page. I'm not sure when it was recorded, but she has such an amazing voice. But more than that, I've been knowing Rhonda for a number of years. Her and Sean, like my big brother, big sister, or little brother, little sister. I think I'm older than they are. But they often treated me like I was the little sister. But I want to say I've just watched her life, and I did send her a post today just to encourage her and to share that I've watched her life, her going through tragedy and going through different deaths and things in her life, and just being a steal, and I mean like a steal, but yet allowing us to see the human side of her. So I just sent her a little shout out to say congratulations, and that I was so proud of her. And yeah, you gotta do that sometime. When you see someone doing some great things, or you see them doing something, that they had to push through some things, you want to definitely give them some shout outs and just commend them for doing an amazing job. If you're on right now, I need you to do me a huge favor. We're going to have a awesome night tonight. We're going to rock and roll. I have a special guest. We have a few announcements before I bring my guest on, because I want to make sure y'all are ready. You got to be ready for this conversation we're going to have tonight. But go ahead and like and share. Leave comments. I think I'll have my comments section up so that I can kind of see what you're saying out there. See if you're doing any talking or chatting up with me. So go ahead and do that. We are live on YouTube. We're also live on Facebook. And so we're just glad to be back. I'm glad to be back, guys. I've been in school, and I'm telling you, my head has been under a rock. But it's been an awesome, amazing ride. Awesome 2024. And I hope you have experienced the same awesome 2024. And, like I always say to my clients and to people that just call and want to chat about branding and marketing, guys, do your preparation. Get ready for 2025. It is double grace. It's going to be a phenomenal year, and you definitely don't want to miss it. So I want to do a couple of announcements, and then I'm going to bring on our guests, because we have a lot to talk about tonight. We have a lot to say. And just to give you a heads up, we're going to be talking about intimacy. We're going to be talking about hormone replacement, and we're going to be talking about weight loss. All of those things are very important to me. So go ahead and get your friends on, get your honey boo on, and have them listen. And I know my honey boo is listening, and so he's tuning in. And so I'm excited tonight to just be back in this seat. So I'm going to do a couple of housekeeping announcements just to keep you current on what's going on with Kingdom View, Power Couple Summit, and some other things we have coming up. So speaking of Power Couple Summit, I want to bring that on the screen. Power Couple Summit is next year. Even though it's next year, 2025, it's going to be here before we know it. I want you guys to go ahead and register now. It is not too early to go ahead and register. If you have a group, give me a call. We have special group rates, and groups are 5 couples and more. So you get an additional discount if you have a group of 5. And, friends or church members or whatever, and you want to get together, you want to get, a group together, go ahead and reach out to us. But this is the information. It's going to be held on Saturday, April 26th. And it's called the Marriage Blueprint. But it's loaded with special guests and a lot of different information that's going to be shared there. And then I want to also say that I will be diving into the subject of talking about insurance, your legacy building along with real estate. So look for that coming up in the next, I would say, few weeks, probably the last week of December, we'll do something. But I want you to stay tuned and definitely connect with us. And last but not least, let me say, as you guys are coming on, I see you coming on, let me say happy birthday to all the December people. I did not know it was that many December birthdays that are out there. I knew my husband's birthday, December 16th, but I'm learning that so many other people. And then my sister, my sister-in-law, but my sister, her birthday is December 7th. My nephew's birthday is today. He turned 25. I thought he was 22. And just so many other phenomenal. Marty, another family member, birthday is was yesterday. But so many phenomenal people. Kendra Adams had her 55th birthday today. So we definitely want to send shout outs if it's your birthday. Definitely happy birthday to you. And if you are watching us live, go ahead and chat it up with us. Thank you, honey. Thank you. Go ahead and chat it up. Put some comments and things in the post. And if you're watching us later, I want you just to put in hashtag repost. Hashtag repost. So if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, you want to do that. Without any further ado, I want to give as much time as I possibly can to our guest on tonight. I am just super excited again that she decided to be with us. We're on an upgraded platform now. We were on another platform before on Zoom, and so I said, let me bring you over here. Let's do a first class. So that's kind of what I feel like we're doing tonight. So let me go ahead and get her bio up so that I can properly introduce her, and so that you would know who our guest is on tonight. All right, I'm not going to read her entire bio, but I think it is important if you know who's coming before you to know their credentials and to know that we're not talking about just somebody gave her a degree she went to school for it. Spent over 30 years of her life studying the body. And so she worked in the emergency room. These are all things that I know about her. Worked in the ER for many years. And so Dr. King has a passion for dispensing useful and often life-saving information to the public. Early in her career, as a board certified fellow emergency medicine doctor, she found herself treating seriously ill patients whose life choices played a role to their situation. She wanted to do more than just intervene into during a tragic medical emergency. So for the past 25 years, can y'all say 25 years? Dr. King has led a dual life. A dual life has been working as a physician in several states, including Washington, D.C., Maryland, also California and Florida, and most recently, she's right here in our state. She's in the state of Texas. However, at the same time, she became a four-time Emmy award-winning television radio journalist hosting show on the network. So you're going to see her coming back, coming in front of you, not just giving you information, but she's a communicator. She loves this platform to be able to share information. So she's also featured on Lifetime, PBS, she's on Oprah, she's on Montel. So she has a lengthy bio, and you can see it in the on our post there. We did post it there. So without any further ado, guys, help me welcome my guest, Dr. Winnie King. Dr. King, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
I am wonderful. I'm wonderful. We're in our world. We're in our world.
All right, I heard that.
You enjoy this space and place of being able to talk to people and to educate them and just to share as much knowledge as you have. I want you, I read your bio, but just tell them a little bit about who you are and your passion for doing what you're doing today.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction. And yes, I spent a good 25 plus years working in the emergency room, taking care of people on the really the worst day of their lives when horrific things were happening, whether it was some type of traumatic injury, a heart attack, a stroke, and often the circumstances that led to their being there in front of me were preventable. And so after all those years of practicing, I decided that I wanted to get on the other end of this and help people make wiser choices and live life to the full, as you have so aptly named your organization and what you do. Um, there are a lot of things that we can do that really help extend our lives and improve the quality of our lives. And so about 2016, I left the emergency room and opened my own practice, which is Winnie King, MD, Aesthetics and Wellness. And it really speaks to what I'm doing. I'm doing aesthetics work where I help you look better, but I'm also doing wellness work where I help you feel better. And so we work on the inside and the outside. And it's been very, very gratifying to help people reclaim, in some cases, the youthfulness, the joy that they had when they were younger, and to extend the quality and the length of their lives by making choices. We make best choices when we have the right information. And so that's my job, to teach, to educate, to inspire, so that you have the information in front of you so that you can make the choices that you need to make in order to live the kind of life that I think most all of us would like to live.
Yeah. I said tonight, Dr. King, we were going to talk about intimacy, we're going to talk about hormone replacement, and we're going to talk about weight loss. I'm struggling in my being to see which one we should go first.
Well, they're all connected, you know, they're one sort of dovetails into the other. So we can just jump in with any of them and we'll end up going around to all of them.
Okay, well, I think I want to save intimacy for last.
Okay.
Let's start off with hormone replacement. I know this term is now just surfacing in our community.
Yes.
With doctors and with people learning that there are things to make us feel better. Back in the day, my mom's time, I remember, they would talk about estrogen and those type of things where your body, if you took out parts of your body, as far as your ovaries, your uterus or whatever, you needed hormones. You needed these things to help you, just keep the momentum of every day. There's been some misnomers about hormone replacement and kind of how it benefits us and how we can use it for our advantage. And this is both for male and female. So it's not just for women. And I want to thank my sister. She invited a lot of people to tune in. Get these men on here. Get the men on here. They need to do it right. Let me set it up for you, if you will. Our hormones, our bodies, I didn't realize that my body would go through the number of changes that I've experienced. When I started wanting to lose weight, and we'll talk about that later, I started to feel sluggish. I started to feel not so good. Or not having the momentum that I had years ago. I was losing it. And so I know when we came to you, you introduced something to us called hormone replacement. And I'm telling you, we both are doing extremely well. But I want to let you talk about what is hormone replacement for men and women. Why is it important for us to consider it holistically, the difference? And just help us understand what hormone replacement is and what it does for our bodies.
That's a great question. And it's one that really requires for you to understand that our bodies operate by hormones. We have receptors on literally every cell in our body for hormones. And so hormones are very important in the way our body functions. Now, a lot of people think that women have estrogen and men have testosterone. And while that's true, women also have testosterone and men also have estrogen. They just have them in different proportions. So women have a lot more estrogen and a little bit of testosterone. Men have a lot of testosterone and a little bit of estrogen. These hormones are very important in the way our body functions. And from the moment when we start having menstrual cycles as women, from the moment when young men are able to have an ejaculation and are sexually potent as young boys, this is all the effect of hormones on our bodies. And as we age, those hormone levels will start to peak and then drop. And that dropping actually starts pretty early. It starts when you're in your 30s. You'll start to see a decline if we measure it in your hormone levels, but you may not feel it. When you're 30, 31, 32, you may not feel any differently than you did when you were 25, but hormonally you're different. As you age, as you get further down the road of life, those hormone levels continue to drop. And Most people, when they're in their 40s, will start to notice a change. Something will not be quite the same as it was before. You may be a little bit more tired. You don't quite have the zip, the energy that you had when you were younger. You may not sleep as well. Your sex drive may start to decline a little bit, and your interest in sex starts to sort of wane. We most of the time just attribute that to getting older, and we just keep it moving and just say, oh, that's the way it is. Our memory might start to change. We might experience memory fog where, we've all had this experience where you walk into the room and then you look around and you're like, okay, now I know I came in here for something. I know I did. And you can't remember what it was that you were thinking about. These are all symptoms of hormone deficiency. Not sleeping, getting hot flashes where you just all of a sudden you go from feeling fine to just being covered in sweat, feeling this heat that's just emanating from your body. And it's a very unique type of heat because even fanning doesn't really help. Of course, we fan because we want some relief, but it's coming from the inside out. And it's very, very uncomfortable. Feeling overwhelmed, feeling like the world is coming in on you, being tearful, just not feeling right, being off a little bit. All of these can be signs of hormone deficiency. And this happens as we get older. Men might start to feel that they really don't have as much interest in sex as they did when they were 20. Their performance might start to go down. Women might experience some vaginal dryness, whereas in the past they had no problems becoming lubricated during the sex act. All of a sudden now it's difficult, and they find that they're not able to have that lubrication they had before, and then their partners are then having difficulty penetrating them because of the lack of moisture. So all of these can be signs of hormone deficiency, and all of them have been the reason why I've had people come to me. Some people have memory fog. Some people have irritability and they can't sleep. Some people just have hot flashes. Some people have vaginal dryness. Some men have some difficulty achieving and maintaining an erection. All of these hit us differently at different times. I've had women in their 40s, in their early and mid 40s come in and have hormone deficiency issues, men as well. And quite honestly, I really think that there's a lot in our society now that is causing this to happen sooner. I don't know if it's the hormones in our food. We know that young girls are having their menstrual cycles earlier now than they did when I was coming up. And it's not surprising now to hear of a young girl starting to have her period when she's 9, or 10, whereas in the past that would be more around 13, 14. So I think that the hormones in our food, our lifestyle is really impacting the way in which our bodies process hormones. And that can also happen on the other side when we're getting older. So when that happens, what do? In the past, we've just suffered in silence. And, women have been deemed crazy. They've been given medications for depression, for anxiety, to try and treat the symptoms. And they've been pretty much told that it's their fault. There's something wrong with you and you just need to go sit down somewhere and be quiet. Stop whining. Men can become somewhat distant and angry because they're not their usual selves. They just don't have that zip, and they don't know why, because in our community, we don't really talk about this in the way that's helpful. And so we end up spending the rest of our lives somewhat miserable, and it has a very negative impact on marriages. And that's really what got me going with the hormonal replacement industry, was that I had a lot of patients coming to me who were having difficulty in their marriage. They were either they themselves were not able to perform and they were unhappy about it, or their spouse was not able to and they were frustrated and they wanted to know what can be done to help them. So that's what set me kind of on this quest to learn and to educate myself about hormone replacement. And what I learned was that the best way to replace hormones is with bioidentical hormones. Now, that
when you go into that, I want to unpack some of the things that you said. To really encourage our listening audience why we're having this type of conversation. This is not conversations that we have in church, that we have in religious formats or whatever, but it is a subject that is needed to be had because as believers, married couples, when we struggle in our marriage and we don't get the necessary help that we need, then it's what you said. We suffer in silence and we believe that we're the only ones. Like, we believe we're the only ones that have the hot flashes or, the absent of desires and things of that nature, not realizing that there is help for us. So you're listening to Live Life Full, and we want everybody to live life to its fullest, and that's what God wants you, to do. And when I first met Dr. King, found out she was a believer, and her passion, even though she services many other people in other ethnicities, she wants to educate and empower our community. And so that's why we're having this conversation today. I think it's very needed, even with Randy and I doing the Power Couple Summit, and we work with so many married couples. You just never know how people are suffering. You may see them smiling, cheesing, but they can be miserable at home because they're not getting what they need. Think about the connection that is needed. And I have this conversation with my husband all the time. I'm a toucher, I'm a filler, I'm a hugger, and so to have that touch, and so sometime in the car he'll just kind of brush my head. So that's a touch. Because I read something, it's like you need about 54, 52 touches a day, for an effective, some type of feeling touch. For that connectivity in relationships. And it caused the bonding. So being able to connect to one another opens up communication. It does so many other things. And we're not just talking about intimacy, even though sometimes it leads to that, but just the mere connecting to one another, it will leave you absent of the desire to want to go cheat on your spouse or look at things that you shouldn't be looking at, or just have these other things to start coming up. So Dr. King has been very instrumental in giving us information and empowering us. And I was like, man, we need to bring this to pastors. We need to bring this to people of clergy, because I know, because I've worked in church a long time, so I know a lot of stuff. Probably I shouldn't know. But this is something that you can do confidential, with your spouse. Walk through it together, especially husbands. If you know your wife is going through hormonal things, try to understand it. And then wives, if you know your husband is going through a midlife crisis because he's not able to perform the way he probably did when he was 20, walk it together, And so, Dr. King, go ahead. I just want to lay that out there to say
I'm glad you did.
Conversation because we ain't got nothing else to do. This is it. You
guys, it's very important.
You're celebrating 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, and you're proud about that, but you're miserable. And so you don't have to be miserable, if there are tools and if there are things that you can do to have as much.
No, I'm so glad you said that, because that is absolutely what motivated me to speak with you about reaching out to communities of faith about this. So often we look at sex as something that you don't talk about, and that you're just supposed to just magically have without any conversation about it. And it is something that was given to us by God for marriages. Beyond procreation, it is a way of communicating with one another and having intimacy that we all need, we all crave. And what I have found is that couples that enjoy great sexual contact and great intimacy don't get divorced. And there is a connection there that really helps weather the storms of marriage, because marriage is like being on a roller coaster. You have your ups and you have your downs. But when you have the intimate connection with one another, when you know and each other in a very close, intimate way, and you're able to give of your body to your spouse, as we are instructed to do in marriage, you create a bond that withstands a lot of the rigors of being married, all of the ups and downs, the difficulties, the struggles, which is inevitable in any marriage. And so from my standpoint, this was a way of helping to really gird up marriages. And I've just, over the years that I've been in this business, I've seen too many couples that looked like they were doing great, but they weren't. And when they got behind closed doors with me and we really talked about what's going on, in fact, the intimacy wasn't there. And many of them had just pretty much reconciled themselves that they were just going to stick and stay, but they weren't going to be happy. And then what often will happen, unfortunately, is that they will find themselves being attracted to someone outside of the marriage who is able to meet that emotional and physical need that they have. And this is a crack that will then, it doesn't stop there. It goes on and it goes on and it goes on. And it creates a dividing line in the marriage that is extremely unhealthy and creates resentment, anger, all of the things that are counterproductive to a healthy relationship with your spouse. And so that's why I felt the need to really reach out to the communities of faith, because sex is in the Bible. You know, I mean, God speaks very clearly through his disciples about what he expects us to do in marriage, and that we shouldn't be withholding ourselves from one another unless we both agree for a period of time. But other than that, we should be giving of our bodies to one another. And if you're unable to do that because of a hormonal deficiency, well, I can fix that. And, we don't want you to just assume that this is it, I can't do it, and we're just going to just stay, be miserable. But, you don't get any brownie points for staying miserable. That's not what a marriage is supposed to be. It's supposed to be joyful. And I really like to target couples that are in their 50s and above, late 40s to 50s, because most of these couples have had their babies. And so now, they are postmenopausal, the women. And so now is the time where you should be having the best sex, because you're not worried about getting pregnant. The babies are hopefully out of the house or on their way out the house. And so now you are able to really enjoy each other and recapture the joy, the mystery, the excitement of the days when you first got together. And if for some reason you're not doing that, you're losing a really valuable part of the cycle of marriage. You have the intimate, special time when you first get married, all the excitement, all the thrill of having a marriage. And then you have your children. And then, toward the latter half, now it's time for the two of you to reconnect on a very intimate level. And that's where I can be very helpful by looking at you medically and also emotionally. I'm available to discuss the kinds of issues emotionally that are going on within the marriage and helping to reconcile those as well.
Yeah, let's talk about what that looks like. You were going into the hormone replacement, what it is for women, what it is for men, because this may be new terms that people are hearing and they may not really know what that means. And then if you will kind of talk about, because you want to give them that comparison, what it is holistically, because you're a holistic doctor, but also what they compare it to if they go to a regular physician, the synthetics and all of that.
Yes. Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, because when we talk about hormone replacement, what I'm talking about is giving you back the same hormones that your body's made when you were younger. Now, for women, our hormones are made in our ovaries. So estrogen, testosterone, progesterone is manufactured and sent into your body from your ovary. And that's the reason why, if you were to have a hysterectomy and they did what they call a total hysterectomy, where they take not only your uterus, but your ovaries, at that moment, when they remove your ovaries, you are in menopause. You're in what's called surgical menopause, because it's premature. But because they took the ovaries out, now your body is not being fed the hormones that your ovary used to make. You still get a few, because you have an adrenal gland that is a little chestnut-sized organ that sits on top of both of your kidneys. And they make hormones too, but not nearly in the degree, to the amount that your ovaries did. And so now all of the symptoms of hormone deficiency are going to come on you. All of the things we talked about, the hot flashes, the irritability, the vaginal dryness, the mental fog, all of that comes just like that. For men, they will experience a decline as they age. Unless they've had some type of surgical procedure that has caused the removal of their testicles, they will also, at that point, they would go into what we call andropause. So women go into menopause and men go into what's called andropause. Now, like I said earlier, women have estrogen and testosterone. Men have estrogen and testosterone. It's just that the proportions are different. So for women, we have way more estrogen and we have less testosterone. Men have way more testosterone and they have less estrogen, but they do have estrogen. And so when you start to experience the symptoms that we described earlier, then what we have to do is measure your hormones. And then we can talk about replacing those hormones with what Michelle just mentioned, bioidentical. Now, let me just get into that term, bioidentical, because I know it kind of sounds like a big term, and it's really not. It's very, very simple. You find in medicine that if you really understand the derivation of the words, you'll fully understand what the term means. So bio means it is biologically identical. That means that it looks exactly the same as the hormones that your ovary or your testicles, if you're a guy, made when you were younger. Bioidentical. That's very different from synthetic. A synthetic hormone is not bioidentical. It does not look exactly like the hormone that your ovary, or in the case of a male, his testicles made. It can't, because God has the patent on bioidentical things, okay? He created it, and it's his, and he's got the patent, and nobody's getting it, okay? So if a pharmaceutical company wants to manufacture a hormone-type product, they have to change it chemically. And for those of you that took high school or college chemistry, you know about the bonds between the carbon molecules and oxygen and all that. You have to slightly change it in order for it to become patentable. So then they can take that to the FDA and they can get a patent on it. Now, most of the molecule is going to look very similar, but there's got to be something about it that's uniquely different. And that is a synthetic hormone, because it does not look exactly like the hormone that your body made. And it will give you some of the same results as a bioidentical hormone. But you've got to remember that your body has never seen this synthetic hormone before, because it never made that. And so that's where we run into some of the concerns about whether or not these synthetic hormones cause other health problems. Yeah. And back in around, I think it was like 2007, 2008, there was a big, big study with thousands of nurses where they gave them synthetic hormones. Okay, I believe it was Premarin, and Premarin is actually harvested from horse urine. Wow. They retrieved the estrogen from that source. And there were some concerns after giving these women these hormones over a period of time, synthetic hormones, mind you, that there was an uptick of cancer, of breast cancer. And as a result of that, there was this massive, massive scare that women should not be receiving any type of hormone therapy because it increases their risk of developing breast cancer. What we now know is that that study looked at the use of synthetic hormones. Now, I'm not saying that all synthetic hormones cause cancer, but what we do know is that in that study, bioidentical hormones were not used. It was all synthetic hormones. Not every woman that got synthetic hormones developed cancer, but some did. When you're talking about something that's bioidentical, it's going to give you the same result as the hormones that your body biologically made. So if these hormones were going to cause cancer, bioidentical hormones, and the hormones that your ovaries made would have caused you cancer, because you cannot tell the difference. When you look at them under the microscope, they look the same. And that is the reason why I only deal with bioidentical hormones. And because I know that I can tell you with certainty that I'm not going to cause you any trouble. Your body is just simply going to see this hormone that it may have not been producing as much of over the last few years. And it's going to say, hey, I remember what that looks like. Whoa, okay, let's roll back that footage and let's get you back into where you were in your 20s and 30s. And so you're going to start feeling a lot better. But again, it's important for you to understand that we're talking about bioidentical hormones. Completely safe.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're going to get that when you go to a holistic doctor. And I want to tell you guys my own personal testimony. You know, as far as when I started to explore, I didn't know much about it. I just knew how I was feeling. And my goal was to lose weight. That's what I wanted to do. And I was doing that very well. But when I could look at my focus or my clarity in my thoughts and my mood, and just kind of how I was feeling as a woman, I could tell it was kind of off. And So the first thing that Dr. King did is she ran my numbers. She wanted to see, okay, where are you? What are your numbers saying? And so as we looked at my numbers, I don't even think I charted in neither one of them, estrogen or testosterone. I think I was
Yes.
under 15, and I should have at least been, well, I was under 12. It should have at least been in my hundreds. And so I wait for it. Natural, holistic. She explained everything to me, and I'm telling you, I have felt great. I made it through a great semester of reading probably 6 or 7 books, great papers, writing on some things for wives. I can tell very vibrant. Um, and Randy would have to test to the rest. But, I feel that I have, just I can live life full. I feel better. I'm thriving. And I have the energy to really do things as if I was, back in my 30s. So I would say, if nothing else, just know where you are, know your numbers. And I know and I love my traditional doctors. I do. I have some great doctors, but not that in some instance they're not allowed to do some tests unless you have an issue. If you have an issue with your thyroid, then they run numbers. But with Dr. King, she was able to run full panel numbers, so I know everything about my body. And it really helped me to really start to understand and listen to my body. What is your body saying? Go exercise, go walk, go eat healthier, stop eating the sugar. You can really hear your body talk to you. So I don't know if you want to go more in depth as to, I would say they can schedule. I would advise anybody who's listening, you guys are on here because I see y'all in the chat. Schedule a consultation, go see Dr. King and have that conversation because you want to feel better. You want to thrive. You don't want to just lay around and not feel your best and think this is your exit. Because some men do. Oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to eat, go to sleep, and wake up in the morning and do the same thing. And really, you got to keep up with your wife. And wives, you got to keep up with your husband. Don't think just because you've been married 40 years that you guys are stuck together. You should still be thriving and having a great time in your relationship. So, anything else you want to add on the hormone replacement?
Yeah, I just really want your listeners and viewers to understand that there's no danger with these hormones. There's very few things in the pharmaceutical industry that don't have side effects. If you watch a commercial on TV, they show you a beautiful picture of people dancing around, and at the very end, they tell you, now if your liver starts failing and if you lose your vision, call your doctor. And you're like, what? That's not the case with these. With women, we will replace your estrogen and your testosterone, and we do that in the form of a pellet that's about the size of a grain of rice. We put that under your skin on your backside. It takes all of 5 minutes. It doesn't hurt. We numb you up. Make a teeny incision, slide a tube in, put the pellets in, pull it out, and you're done. And for women, these hormones will last you 3 to 4 months. And so you're going to feel better in about a week, and you're just going to just keep on coasting for the full time. With men, we only give you testosterone. Even though you do have some estrogen, we don't replace estrogen in men. We give you testosterone, and you get way more testosterone than women do. And again, it's in the size of a pellet. We put that under your skin, on your backside, or on your lower back. Same type thing. I've had, the people that have been the most afraid to get these pellets have been men. Guys are so big and strong and burly until you start talking about either drawing their blood or doing a procedure on them, and they completely decompensate. But the thing that's so funny is that once I put the pellets in them and I tell them, okay, we're done, they look at me and they're like, you're done? I'm like, yeah, we're done. Go, and they're so surprised, and and then they realize that it was all about, all for nothing. But after about 7 to 10 days, they start to feel so much better. And I have literally had people call me up and say, you know what? Not only is Dad acting different, he looks different.
Wow.
He's smiling now, and we're all looking at him like, what's going on? Why are you so happy? You're usually so grumpy. What's going on? Because they just change right in front of your eyes. And here's the thing that you should understand is that while these pellets in guys will last them 6 months, women 3 to 4 months. If you get these pellets and you decide that you hate them and you don't like feeling better and having a stronger sex drive, you just hate that. Just don't get it anymore. And the pellets will be absorbed in your body and you'll be right back to where you were before. So there's no worries. It's not like you have to stay with it once you get it. But what will happen is that as those pellets start to wear off, you will be calling my office saying, listen to me, when is your next appointment? Because sometimes we don't know how badly we feel until we feel better.
Yeah.
And that's the real beauty of these hormones. So I would strongly encourage you all to make an appointment with me and let's talk about what's going on. A lot of people call me Dr. Auntie Winnie because I'm really like an auntie as well as a doctor.
You really are. You really are.
I love talking to people. It's totally safe. And trust me, after 25 plus years in the emergency room, you cannot tell me something that I have not already heard. Trust me on this. And I'm really 100% down for you. I want to help you. I want to encourage you. And the best way to do that is to make it. Nice music.
You are my hiding place. You are fill my heart with songs of deliverance. Whenever I am afraid, I will trust in you. I will trust.
We found. All right. King, maybe that was just giving you a little break there. Great information. We still have much more to talk about, but I wanted to also say after you did my numbers first, you had my pellets in, then you did my numbers again. Numbers don't lie. I mean, same blood, same testing company, and I did my numbers. I was under 12 after I got my pellets. I was like 18. My test company, 12 or 18. It was elevated. It was good. It was very elevated, and I felt better. So I want to tell you guys, definitely make a connection as we get ready to move to the next subject. Dr. King, give me your phone office number so that they can reach out to you and they can schedule a consultation and see what it takes to get into your office.
Sure. My office number is 281-836-5656. 281-836-5656.
Yeah, so I would encourage you guys, go ahead and make that appointment, and you will be glad you did, even if it's for the conversation. Dr. Winnie is a wealth of information. I am branding her as Ask Dr. King because you can ask her almost anything, and she'll have some knowledge, and if not, she knows where to get it from. This really leads us into our next topic, and that's weight loss. And I say that because sometimes your hormones are tripped up, so you're depressed, you may eat more, you may start to get sluggish, you don't work out as much, and you start to gain weight. Just with age, over time, you're not conscious of it, that you started gaining it, 3 or 4 years ago, but it comes on and it comes on, and then all of a sudden, one size, and now you're like, a full size, and you don't really know how you got there. So I want to talk about weight loss. Weight loss is important, not for you to be a size 2 or size 4, but number one, for you to be healthy. Diabetes, heart disease, some of the number one killers, and especially in the African American community. And if we're unaware again of our numbers, then we don't have anything to gauge our own health. We're trusting doctors to tell us what's going on with our bodies. And we don't have any pushbacks. We don't have any questions because we're allowing them to tell us what they see. So I would say probably weight loss has always been a concern for me, as far as, going out of school, having these babies. And when your children are 36 years old, or your baby is 28 years old, you can no longer say this is baby food.
No, it's a challenge.
Oh, you got to take responsibility that live this fast life and you have to stop and eat Burger King, McDonald's, and get all this other food that's very unhealthy for us. You have to go into that lifestyle, and you may be like me, and you may say, "Listen, I just got to stop. I got to get control of myself. I got to get control of my life." When you make that decision, it is not easy. Before I even start looking for weight loss avenues to really help me, I mean, I tried keto, I tried intermittent fasting. I mean, I tried everything. I tried everything. And sometimes I had discipline and sometimes I didn't. But losing weight is one of those things that when you look good or you feel better and you're able to kind of navigate life from a different lens. And so feeling your best goes along with how much weight you're packing. I mean, now, I can sit in church, I can sit somewhere and I can cross my legs. Before I couldn't cross my legs, that bothered me. It bothered me to be able to put on a seatbelt and still see my little tummy budging. That bothered me. So you have to look at where you are and where you want to be. But Dr. King as well, I mean, he has a first state-of-the-art, first-class office that you must visit, even if you just go for a tour. But this is another thing she addresses with women and men. And I'm so glad that her practice is not just geared towards women, because what we do collected together impacts us as a whole. If you're married, it's the husband and wife. If you're single and you have a companion, or maybe, you have a sister friend, girlfriend you want to do this program with. But losing weight is something that also needs monitoring, and you need to make sure that you're doing it, in a way that is, you can see results, but then you're doing it in the most healthiest way. So I want to give my commentative view on losing weight, because I don't want you to think, losing weight is, it's important for you to be a certain size. It's important for you to feel good, for your glucose numbers to be down, for your cholesterol numbers to be good. And you can find some skinny people that are not healthy. So it's about being healthy, and it's about being on a program that you can lose and you can see results. So I've lost, a good amount of weight. I'm still on my journey, but I'm telling you, I feel fantastic. So Dr. King, tell us about weight loss options and tell us about some of the things that you do and some of the people testimonies that you've seen come through your office with weight loss.
Well, Joe, when we talk about being overweight, really we're talking about being over fat. And that's what we're geared toward. And I will tell you that in the African American community and in the Hispanic community, the diet is what gets us in trouble. And this is something that has a very long history with African Americans. There was a time when we were forced to eat foods that were unhealthy because those were the only foods that were available to us. And that's
what we were told. Eat all your plate.
Right, eat it all. And often, even going further back, the foods that were available, the things that we could eat were things that other cultures didn't want. And we had to learn how to eat those foods in order to survive. And this has become a part of our cultural DNA of eating high-fat, unhealthy foods. Now, what I will also say as a wellness doctor is that this way of eating has made the medical community quite rich, because when you eat unhealthy and you carry extra fat, you are more likely to experience some type of health problem that the medical system is going to benefit from, whether it's having a heart attack and a stroke, being in the hospital, having to be on medications that the big pharmaceutical companies are going to make money off of. So our being over fat and unhealthy has been a financial windfall for the medical community. And that's just the honest to goodness truth. So I like to have that conversation with patients when we're talking about changing their percentage of body fat, that you need to understand that you are being handled by the food industry and by the medical industry. And you're being told and taught to eat foods that are not good for you so that you will then benefit another organization that you get no benefit from. And so this is about fighting back. This is about taking control of your life so that you are now living your life for you, and you're not making poor choices that are going to benefit organizations such as the pharmaceutical industry, the hospital organizations, even doctors. You know, I mean, they make tons and tons of money off of people who are diabetic and hypertensive and don't do anything about it. So the first thing that we need to establish is that we're going to do something different, because you're going to fight for yourself now, and stop trusting fast food restaurants and pharmaceutical companies to solve your problem. Because you made it this far, you are a highly intelligent person, and you can make wiser life choices. All you need is the information, and that's where I come in. But I have to have your desire to live a healthier life first. I can't overcome that for you. You need to understand that the mindset, the way that we eat, the way that we choose things has a lot to do with what we've been brainwashed into believing is okay. In the minority community, it's often tolerated that women walk around over fat. It's actually praised that you've got a big butt, you know, that you're shapely, that you've got all this extra fat on you. Well, that extra fat is what will put you in the ground. And that's what I have seen in my years working in the emergency room. People that are walking around with extra fat, heavy, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, those are the ones that are going to have the problems that are going to cause them to die prematurely. So this is the first conversation that we need to have. Once I have your attention and you understand that, first of all, Dr. King can't do this for you. You've got to do it for yourself. I'm just here to give you the information so that you can do it. Then we're okay. We're in the right space, because I can't tie you down and make you lose 40 pounds. I can't do it. It doesn't work that way. This is a decision that you need to make for yourself, that you are not going to live a life that's dictated by a bunch of strangers who don't know you and don't care about you, that you have the ability and the willingness to take control over your life and to live a healthy life. Now, that being said, the number one thing that determines your body weight is the food that you eat. Number one, even exercise trainers will tell you that. You can exercise till the cows come home, but if you do not modify the way in which you feed your body, the information that you put in your body with the foods that you put in it, you will not successfully lose the fat that you're hoping to lose, period. And so a lot of folks are of the impression that they can eat anything they want, but then if they go to the gym, that's going to overcome what they just put in their bodies. And it doesn't work that way at all. No doctor will ever tell you not to exercise, because exercise does wonders for you. It's cardiovascular fitness, toning, all of those things. But when you're trying to lose fat, if you do not make a decision to control what you put in your body, you will not be ultimately successful. And then what will happen is that you'll get discouraged and you'll go back to your old eating habits. And that cycle just goes round and round and round. So you've got to come to Jesus meeting with yourself about the fact that what you put in your mouth determines what your body is going to do, because food is information. It is instruction. It tells you what to do. When you eat something that's loaded with sugar, you are now telling your body to collect and store that sugar as fat. And I'm sorry, you hear my little dogs, but one of them has decided it is playtime, and she is really tiny. You would never know by that bark that she is as tiny as she is. Honey, come here. Stop it. Come here.
Play, get on the camera.
Yes.
He's talking about that. I watch often. It's a show. It's a doctor in Houston that works with 200-pound people who just have eaten over a period of time and just gained weight for whatever reason. But I was watching one show the other day, and he put her on a certain calorie. And this was so funny to me, because she thought she can go and say, hey, you know, I'm doing your program. You told me to don't do no more than 1,200, 1,500 calories a day. And so what the doctor didn't see was that she was at home still eating maybe like 4 Oreos, a bag of chips. She was counting those calories, but she was still eating the wrong food. And he had to hospitalize her. And so as he was turning her over, he saw a bag of chips, and he said, see, this way, because you won't give this up.
That's
and
right.
He was like, if you're not willing to do this, I can't help you in my program because what you said, I can't do it for you. You have to get mad about the situation. You have to get tired of feeling, the way that you're feeling and maybe even looking. I mean, I didn't look good in my clothes, but I'm telling you, when I started losing weight, my husband started paying a little bit more attention.
He's a funny thing.
And so it just made me feel better about myself. And this is a shirt that my sister gave me. And when she first gave it to me, it's supposed to be like a dress shirt. And it was like hugging my butt. Now it fits me very loosely and, it looks very nice. So I had it on today. And, it just makes you feel good about yourself. So the weight loss program is for you to feel good, look good, but it's also so you can be healthy.
Yes. And when you go along that journey, and I know, Michelle, that you have had this experience, you really become so proud of yourself because of what you've accomplished. It does way more than just change the shape of your body and the weight of your body. It gives you a level of confidence about yourself. And it's just a major win. It's like, yay, me, I did this. I was able to accomplish something that was so important to me. And that joy that you get from accomplishing something like that, there aren't any cookies that taste as good as that.
Yeah.
And I think what's an old expression, thin tastes better than fat. I mean, when you are healthy and you like the way you look, there's nothing that can really match that in the foods that you eat. But again, understanding what this is all about, that you have been given information that starts as a child that has led you down the wrong path. We've had autopsies done on little children who died because of some cancer or a car accident, and they've actually biopsied their cardiovascular system, their blood vessels, and they found evidence of cardiovascular disease in little children. Because we're feeding these children these high-fat meals from birth. And, children cry, you stick something in their mouth to shut them up, and you don't think about what that's teaching them. And so they are seeing now evidence of heart disease in little babies that they should have perfectly clean arteries. But because of the way we're feeding them, and when you teach a young child that if they're upset, they should go eat some French fries, go have a milkshake to calm them down, well, now you're setting in motion a pattern that's going to continue, and it may continue for the rest of their lives. And so we need to be very thoughtful as parents about the way we condition our children to eat so that they don't set these patterns in motion. Because when you're an adult, often you'll find that you're addicted to these foods, that you're used to eating them, and that when you feel badly, you go towards a cookie or you go towards some ice cream. Because here's the thing, when you eat those foods, it raises your serotonin level in your brain. And serotonin is a hormone that makes you feel good. It's a feel-good hormone. And so what ends up happening is that you connect eating a food that you shouldn't eat with feeling good. And so if something stressful happens in your life, something bad happens, you get some bad news, you don't like the way you feel, you remember, wow, when I ate that ice cream, I felt better. And the next thing you know, you're eating ice cream, not even for the ice cream's sake, but for the way it makes you feel, because it raises your serotonin level. So there's all kinds of things going on in our minds that lead us to doing the wrong things. But eating healthy is something that needs to be determined for every person, because some people tolerate certain foods better than others. And that's where it's important to really sit down with someone who's going to help you ferret out what the right foods are for you to eat. But I know that we're moving toward, Michelle, talking about the GLP-1s, the medications that are out there. There's been a lot of press about semaglutide and tirzepatide. You guys probably know these terms as Ozempic. I mean, Ozempic is like the new words, Ozempic. And let me just give you a little background on that. Ozempic is the brand name for semaglutide. Okay. Generic is semaglutide, but Ozempic, made by Novo Nordisk, is the brand name. Now, Ozempic was originally manufactured and still is manufactured as a drug to treat type 2 diabetes. That's what the medication was for, because what semaglutide will do is it will lower your hemoglobin A1C. Now, for those of you that are not familiar, most diabetics know what that term means, but if you're not familiar, let me explain it. Hemoglobin A1C is a test to measure the average amount of sugar in your blood over the last, say, 3 months. You do the test in one blood test, but the way in which they measure it is they go inside the red blood cell and they look for something called the glycosylated glucose. It's a way of really measuring what's been going on over the last 3 months with your blood sugar. This is an important test because here's what a lot of diabetic people will do. And I know those of you out there that are diabetic have never, ever done this, but you'll eat anything you want to eat. And you know you've got a doctor's appointment coming up. And so then maybe a few days before the doctor's appointment, all of a sudden you are right on target. You eat exactly the way you're supposed to eat. You follow the rules. You do everything so that when you go into the doctor's office and they measure your glucose, it comes back normal. And so then you get a nice pat on the head and the doctor's like, oh, wow, you're doing so good. You are really following the plan. When in fact, that's not what was going on at all. That's why we will do a hemoglobin A1C, because that will tell us what's been going on with you over the last 3 months. And that's a much better way of knowing what's happening with your diabetes.
Yeah.
So Ozempic was designed to lower the hemoglobin A1C in diabetics. And so that's the reason why it was originally manufactured. But what they discovered was that not only does it control your hemoglobin A1C, it also causes you to lose weight. These people were losing 5, 10, 20 pounds on Ozempic, even though that was not the original intention of the drug. So then the pharmaceutical company that manufactured Ozempic went back and did more research and said, well, what if we give these people even higher doses of Ozempic or semaglutide? When they did that, they found that they lost even more weight. And so that's when they came out with a new drug that's the same medicine, but in a higher dose. And that's called Wegovy.
Okay.
But it's the same medicine as Ozempic. It's just in a much higher dose. They went to the FDA to get approval for it, and the FDA approved it, but they approved it as a weight loss drug. Now, Ozempic was approved by the FDA as a type 2 diabetes drug. And so that meant that if you had type 2 diabetes, your insurance company would more than likely pay for it because it's treating a medical condition. When Wegovy got approved as a weight loss drug, many of the insurance companies said, oh, hold up. We don't pay for weight loss medicines. That's not a thing. And so what ended up happening was that people couldn't get the coverage. So then they would go to the pharmacies and try to buy it themselves, but out-of-pocket costs for Wegovy is upwards of $1,200 a month.
Right.
So that became cost prohibitive, and a lot of patients weren't able to get it. Now, things have loosened up quite a bit now. I have a semaglutide program in my office, and we get it from a compounding pharmacy where we're able to get it for much cheaper than that. And the weight loss that I've seen with my patients, the fat loss really is what I should be saying, has been great. And it's important when you do a program like this or any other weight loss program that the person who's monitoring you measures your body fat and your body muscle percentage on a regular basis. Because, Michelle, you had alluded to earlier that there are some skinny people who are actually unhealthy. You can be what we call skinny fat, meaning that you have lost weight, but the weight that you've lost is muscle. It's not fat. And so your body fat percentage is actually very high, which puts you at risk for heart disease, diabetes, cancer, strokes, all of the bad things. So it's important when you're on a program of any type that the provider who's monitoring you is measuring your body fat percentage, your body muscle percentage on a regular basis so that we can see, oh, yes, you're losing body fat. The last time you were here, you were 45%. This time you're 40%, and your body muscle has gone up. It was 23%. Now it's up to 27%. So we know that you're losing the right things when you're on the program. Yeah. But semaglutide is great. Now there's a new one out, Mounjaro, which is tirzepatide, and it's a little stronger. It works on 2 different areas in the body, and the weight loss is considerably more. You can lose up to 20% of your body weight, whereas with the semaglutide, it was somewhere around 12 to maybe 15%. So it's a more powerful drug. drops your hemoglobin A1C just like Ozempic, but it also causes you to lose more weight. And so these drugs have become very popular. People are extremely excited about it because, again, you're getting an opportunity to lose weight that you may have not been able to lose. But what's really important if you embark on these, and I do both of those medications in my office, is that you've got to understand that at some point you have to come off those medications. And so while you're going along this trek of losing weight, you need to also be working with your provider to come up with a way of eating and of living that's going to sustain this weight loss. Because listen, who hasn't lost weight and then gained it back?
Right?
You can do that all day long. We want you to lose this body fat and maintain that. And so any program that's about weight loss needs to be also about maintaining the weight, learning how to eat more fruits and vegetables and staying away from the high fat foods, the high carbohydrate foods that your body will then convert into fat. So there's more to it than just the drugs, but the drugs are awesome and people have lost a ton of weight with them.
Yeah. I was, as you was talking, I was also thinking about that, and Janelle made a comment and talked about emotional eating. And so even when you lose the weight and let's say you get off of the medicine or the shots that injections that you're getting, one of the things that this doctor who deals with these people who needed surgery in order to take part of their stomach out so that, they could eat less and they can lose weight, they started losing weight. But then about a month or two, they started eating back the same foods. And so it's more than us being conditioned to eat wrong. There's also, if we had trauma in our life, where food has become the addiction, the thing, the food also. I know at one time, every day I was stopping by the gas station getting, chocolate cupcakes with the white filling in the middle.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
Some Cheetos. I mean, I was on an emotional eating. I had to really, I didn't necessarily identify it as a trauma or something that triggered it, but it was, hindsight looking back. But that's one of the things that this doctor advised these clients that start eating back and gaining the weight.
Yeah.
It could be something that you haven't dealt with from a spiritual level, emotional level, physical level. It's inside out. Your outside is a reflection of what's inside.
That's
how much
right.
you love yourself, how much you're taking care of yourself. Your outside is a reflection of that. So when you start going in that direction, do some observation. Counseling for African American people is a good thing. It's a great thing. Go get some therapy. Go sit on somebody's couch and just tell them all about it. Tell them your childhood.
That's right.
What was found is that it was in the childhood where something happened and they never got a chance to talk about it. And as soon as they talked about it, they got it out and they were given, some instructions and some things on how to navigate. They were able to lose the weight much better, and they didn't go back to eating those same things. So I want to add that this is a life-changing, thing, not just for you to look good, but also for you to get to the root of, why we eat the way we eat.
Right.
Convenience, you don't have time to prepare food, or is it that we have something, a greater thing? And so as we get ready to wrap this up, we're going to dash. All of this has been talked about with talking about the hormone replacement along with weight loss, especially for married people. And I know we have a huge audience of married people, and even if you're listening and you're single, you know some married folks. And it's important to us. Randy and I have basically built our ministry around being an inspiration and inspiring other married couples. And it doesn't mean that we're perfect or that we have it all together, but it does mean that as we get education and we're empowered, even from the Power Couple Summit this year, where couples talked about, the testosterone, what happens, when you've been made mad and you don't feel like having sex, and, she wants you to have sex, but you're mad, all these things were talked about. And now we have, somebody to address it. We were sitting there saying, yep, I know what you mean. I had those days too. Everybody can agree, it's feeling the same thing. Mm-hmm. Being able to have somebody in the room to help us have this healthy conversation. Dr. King will be with us on April the 26th. She's one of our speakers. And she's going to share with us this information on an intimacy. Why is it important for us to connect? We kind of talked about it in the beginning, but as we close, just kind of talk about the intimacy part as it relates to tying all this together, from hormones to weight loss to knowing our numbers to really wanting to thrive and what God's perfect plan for our life. Our marriage is a model and a representation of the Trinity. So, how God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit operate as one. A three-stranded cord is not easily broken. But if you're not taking care of yourself, your body, your hormones, you're going to break. Because you're going to have an attitude. You don't want nobody to touch you. You have a midlife crisis. Can't nobody, all thing you know is football. And, you don't see nothing else. You don't compliment your wife. You don't touch your wife. You don't connect with her. But then somebody, Sally Sue, walking across the parking lot, you see something different. You start desiring something different. And you don't know why. All of these things are real life issues. And these are not life issues in the world. These are life issues in the church. That's why we see the high for divorce. And I love what Dr. King said, that sex is one of those things that has kept marriages from getting divorced. Mm-hmm. So not so much as money. I mean, if you broke, you still can go get in the bed and gum to huddle up or whatever you got to connect. It don't matter. You got to eat cheese or whatever. You're still together, and it's something about being together and feeling one another. So that I just wanted to paint that picture and to share with our listening audience. This is important. It's important. And while she's talking, I am going to run her number again on the screen. Write it down. Call her tomorrow. Get an appointment, and just start working on yourself. Go into 20. Listen, for your wife, your husband, Christmas gift, buy them a package. That's what you can do. Buy them a hormone package. Buy them whatever you want. My husband would tell me, and I would tell my husband, we're very open communicators. For those who know us, we're very transparent with one another. And of course, he would never say that I was fat because he's very gentle. He's a gentleman. But I know, what I needed to do in order to still be appealing, to my husband. Men are, I know I'm talking about truth. Men are visual. They are completely visual. Women, we can look beyond the faults. Beyond the everything goes and work hard and love on them. But men are visual. And if you want to be that person that your husband look at, that he adores continuously, of course, he loves you in his heart, but you want him to still have that emotional appeal to you. I know I do. And so that's why I really had to do something about it. And I'm glad I did. So Dr. King, give us your wrap up of everything we talked about. And I'm going to run the number, guys. And guys, I want you to go and do yourself a favor and schedule a consultation with Dr. King. Go ahead, Dr. King.
Well, you know what? You said it so well, Michelle. I think that, one of the things that you ought to think about this Christmas, as we celebrate the birth of our Lord, and, people get so wrapped up in Madison Avenue buying gifts and presents under the tree. This year, why don't you put yourself under the tree and make you the gift? We are a gift to one another in marriage, and to really, really embrace the beauty and the gift of marriage. This is a wonderful, wonderful institution that was given to us for a reason. Just as Adam needed Eve, he wasn't making it. He wasn't doing too well without Eve. He needed some help, and the Lord saw that. And so he reached inside of him and pulled out Eve, because we need one another. And that's the foundation of marriage. That's what marriage is all about. And life will knock us down. That's we were never told that life is going to be easy, just that we will be given the resources through the Lord to survive and to maintain. And marriage is one of those resources. And so by taking advantage of the things that will help make you the best partner that you can be to your spouse, you then are really refreshing the marriage and refreshing your joy. There's nothing worse than sitting next to somebody who you really don't feel connected to anymore because of hormonal deficiency or because of things that have happened in the past that you haven't been able to get beyond. And what we want you to do is to understand that there are some amazing therapies out there. And I mean, we didn't even go into all of the things that I do in my office to help you sexually beyond the hormones. That's really the starting point. I do sexual rejuvenation with injections to really help with radio frequency. We have a lot of things that we can do. But at the core of that is you understanding that as a partner in a marriage, that you both have a responsibility to one another. And it's a nice responsibility because you get the benefits when you take the time to really focus on being the best partner that you can be to your spouse. Then you get back the benefits of that, whether it's weight loss with some of the medications that are out there now, changing your mindset, getting started with exercise, advantage of all of the hormone replacements that we've talked about. At the core of it is you making a fundamental decision that you want to be the best spouse that you can possibly be, that the good Lord gifted you this person that you're supposed to love and cherish with every inch of your body. And so that is your charge. And when the two of you are both committed to doing that, it's a beautiful explosion of love and intimacy and connection because you can't outdo each other. You're both trying to be the best spouse to one another. And the more that you give, the more that he gives. And the more that he gives, the more that you want to give. It goes both ways. And if you've been in a space where you really haven't been connecting that way recently, then you know what? Why don't you go to dinner or take a trip somewhere and just sit down and have a serious, honest, baby to baby conversation about your marriage, about what's happened in the past, and forge a new relationship with one another. It's never too late. Every day that the Lord wakes us up is another day to be joyful and to be happy and to further that bond that God gave you. And that's really the decision that you all need to make, the conversations that you guys need to make. And once you're there, then come see me. And then I can help make it all work for you because I've got the tools that are completely safe. Nothing is going to hurt you. All it's going to do is make you better and help you accomplish the goals that you both have as a couple to be a healthier, happier couple. I want to see you guys giggling and holding hands and walking down the street and laughing and people saying, what are they laughing at? It's like, I don't know, but I want some of that, whatever that is. That's what I want for each and every one of you because you deserve it. That's what God wanted you to have. So thank you so much, Michelle, for having me on your show tonight. It's always a pleasure for me to talk about something that I have such a passion for. And I'm hoping that I have touched the hearts and the minds of your listeners. And I am delighted to know you and your husband, Randy. You all are awesome people. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Stand by, Dr. King. I'm going to be with you backstage in just a minute. I'm going to close out. Guys, this has been absolutely phenomenal. Anytime I can sit and just gain knowledge and just hear this wisdom about our bodies. You know, we sit in church, we get the wisdom of God, get scriptures and things of that nature. But when you're able, that's the spiritual temple. But when you're able to go to a holistic doctor and understand the physical temple and how it works and what you can do to impact it, make it better as much as possible, then you deserve that to for yourself. I want to say that Dr. King, as we've known her and have gotten acquainted with her services, is not just this holistic person that have, this service that, she wants you to get. There are other things. If you know someone that is, may have cancer, may have some type of thing that your body has been intended to heal itself, she has something that's called the ozone. That is absolutely phenomenal, and that you need more information. I just want you to schedule a visit. Anytime I get information, and I'm telling you, I'm not getting paid to say this, but anytime we get information that we want to be a blessing for someone else, we share it. We are the biggest sharers, biggest cheerleaders of you getting the results that you need. Earlier this year, I've talked to several women. For some reason, God has been connecting me with young women who have been married a number of years in their marriage. And, I have one young lady who just had an 8 month, not 8 or 9 month old baby. She has cancer, guys. She's 36 years old. And, it's those situations that we trust and we believe God to answer. Then, I have other, couples that I've talked to that are going through just challenging times through communication. You ain't got no communication, ain't no sense of us talking about touching you. If you can't get to the barrier of, us having a conversation, is tough. So Randy and I, we're back. We're back here on this platform. My own personal platform is Live Life Full. That's what I'm learning to do. I have not arrived at that, but this is a big push for me, and I'm up for the challenge. Live life full in every aspect. And Randy and I will be back here on the Power Couple Summit, our platform where we'll be talking to different couples about the Power Couple Summit coming up. As we mentioned, Dr. King will be one of those guests. And so go ahead and register at powercouplesummit.com, powercouplesummit.com. Thank you all for sharing this information. And if you watch this in a replay later today, tonight, tomorrow, go ahead and just put hashtag repost. So we'll know that you're seeing this. And I see you guys, the numbers are beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing. And we'll let you know when we're coming back. We will bring Dr. King back. She has so much more to say. But more importantly, go ahead right now, one last time. If it's not for you, do it for somebody else. So anything, any ailment, any situation, kidneys, diabetes, whatever, make an appointment. Let her talk to you. Let her help you get your body back together holistically. I gotta go. The man is hungry, but we'll be talking real soon. God bless you. I love you. And remember to live your life, live it full. God bless. See you later.